Oh yeah, it's always a good time. I mean, when we're how long did pagers last when you
Not
guys were
long.
younger?
I never
Not
had
long.
one.
Because
They
that's
came
basically
in.
what that's basically what that took over was. All right, let somebody know that you're interested in talking to them. Or we just sent them a number. Like it doesn't seem like it was much more than that. It was basically a text before they had text.
Yeah, lick
Yeah,
my butt.
it was. And my son had a beeper. It didn't. They didn't last very long.
Pagers are
And
still
then there was
used
Palm
today.
Pilot. Remember those?
I do
No.
remember the Palm Pilots.
I had one of those. I used it at work. It was
It's
mine,
basically a
but
daily planner, right? That's basically
well,
all
it
the
did a
Palm
little
Pilots were.
more. It did a little more, and it held a lot of information for the job I was doing.
I was
So
so thrilled when we had the Star Trek flip phone.
yeah,
Pop.
I used to think back in the 60s when when I was a Trekkie, that one day we would have iPads and flip phones and whatever, and now we do.
Did any of you guys ever have the car with the corded phone?
No,
No.
No.
Because
never had a
I thought
phone
that
in the
was like
car.
it was like a luxury thing. They had
Yeah.
they had a satellite on the back of the cars. Like the only time I ever actually saw them was in like Wayne's World or like random old movies where like an agent was calling somebody else and he was in the back of his limousine and he could pick up the phone. He didn't have a cell phone yet, but he had a corded phone inside the limousine.
With the little antenna in the back with the
Yeah,
satellite dish.
exactly. I'm like, this is wild.
Oh, they
And now we
used to
got
have
satellite
limousines.
phones that they can
Ha-
get you from anywhere.
Yeah, and they had limousines that had what was it, jacuzzis on them?
Oh yeah, all got. They probably still got
Oh my God,
limousines with jacuzzis.
that rear axle.
No, I got addicted to this show for
Never
a long time. It
seen
reminded me
one.
of that when you were talking about hot tubs and limousines. The Cash Cab. Did you guys ever see that?
I've seen a
There's
couple of episodes. Yeah,
yeah, there's this there was just this cab rolling around New York, and it
yeah.
would just randomly pick you up. They had a bunch of neon lights and like crazy strobe lights inside of the car. If you didn't have a
Mhm.
seizure in the first 10 seconds,
Yeah,
then you're about to play a game show and you could win hundreds of dollars and a free
true.
cab ride. Otherwise, they
Yeah,
drop you on the
Yeah,
side of the road if you answered all the questions wrong.
yeah.
I was like, this is a cool
Cash
game.
Cab with Ben Bailey.
Ben Bailey was the the host. Is that what he said,
Friends on
sick?
Twitter. Stand-up comedian that got that. Yeah, he was a stand-up comedian, and he got
Yeah,
that gig.
yeah.
Me and him
It's a
follow each other
familiar
on Twitter.
face.
Nice. Yeah, no, I didn't know who the guy's name was, but I feel like
But
eventually it got
have
shut
you?
down because of the distraction of it. So how you been, sick? Haven't talked to you in a
If I
while.
remember
Still
correctly,
on
hearing
that?
about that, it was something. It was. Microphone working? Can you hear
I think
me?
your mic's going. Yeah,
I
your
hear
mic's
you.
going. Your mic's going in and out a little bit. Now I got nothing.
Let's try that. Because
Better.
this thing is lighting up
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know if you guys have met Sick before. Sick is
No, I haven't.
a semi driver. He's friends with Kirst. That's how me and Sick actually got connected. We actually got connected
Cool.
through somebody else, but he shall remain nameless. And so now our interconnection is Kirst, and Sick does like movie reviews and stuff like that over on his channel. And nice guy.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
All right, guys, I got to run. It's quiet time here in the campground.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, you have a good evening, sir.
You guys as well.
good
Thank you for
night,
joining us.
Tommy.
See, Blue Eye Diva, I didn't add I didn't give you a wrench tonight, but you came on with one. So it was making me think, I think it was just because you've never been to my old channel. That's why you didn't have a wrench before. Because I was like, oh, because Blue Eye Diva messaged me on on Discord the other day. I should start telling people that I have a Discord. I made a
Oh,
Discord.
Tiff's there. Hey, Tiff.
Oh yeah, she said hi to you earlier in the chat. I put it up.
Yeah, I
but
didn't
I didn't know
have
if you
a
saw it. My
screen.
bad.
I didn't see it.
I should have said something, but you were in the middle of talking, and I didn't say anything. I usually pull them up on screen, then kind of hope people see them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I figured it out, Blue Eyed Diva. I'm not confused now. But yeah, I gotta share Diva my Discord too. Jimmy Rizzo's in my Discord. He came in the other day and was talking to me. I think it'd be cool to start sharing my Discord and running that in the background in case people don't want to use StreamYard. There's a lot of people that just like to use Discord to talk. That's what Pesci does on his channel too.
Yeah.
He's still waiting. I'm still waiting to see if he gets his channel back.
His YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What happened?
Fucking Kenny Bolin went fucking nuts on him.
Oh man, that name
And
again.
yeah. Well,
What is
that's
5?
pretty much 95, and just forgot how. I don't know. I think he's too old for the internet, and then
I think some
thinks
people just
everybody's
act
the
so
enemy.
childish regardless
Well,
of their age.
he's had so many trolls around him. Like, I get why he acts like that. He's an old guy who doesn't understand the internet, and then thinks everybody is his enemy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and he's had so Servap, who you know,
Yeah.
that's where all of that came from. Like, he had all of these, like, Servap's probably got over 120 accounts that he uses on a regular basis and just will flood Kenny's chat. And so that's why Kenny's probably got a co-host, is just so he can monitor the chat and keep other things going.
Yeah, Servap is our resident troll.
Well, no, he's actually Kenny's.
Yeah,
And
but he hangs
and
with
he
us.
just, yeah,
He behaves here.
like, he spreads like a herpy. And he just like in close contact with the next group, like, because he spread to us from Pesci, I'm assuming, or Jake, or Jake Hudson. And then all of a sudden Servap's over on like Herman's channel, and then Servap's over on like Tiffany's channel, and Servap's over. Yeah,
see
he
why
gets
I
around.
don't have a channel?
Yeah. I get it.
I'd rather mess with their heads, and I have to do that on somebody else's.
Olin doesn't like people getting over on him. Well, no. But he thinks of life like that. Like, it's weird that you think of life as somebody getting over on you. It's not wrestling. Not everything is wrestling, you
I
know?
wonder who hurt him.
He's already coming for me, Gonzo. He said he had Schmidt relay the message because apparently he doesn't. I don't know. He wanted everybody to know that he's after me, Pesci, Mountain Timer, and Boss Man. And because it was funny, because Boss Man was on the other day, and then I shared that message that Schmidt had put in the beginning of the day. And I was like, Boss Man, is that why you're leaving the internet? Because he came on to say he was taking a break from the internet, but he was going to do like positive things. I think he was going to go talk to people in prison, because he said that he learned that in the Bible that you're supposed to talk to people in prison.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was convinced, oh, that's why you're leaving the internet. It's because Kenny Bolin said he was after you. You're on his list. But I don't know how I'm on his list. That's funny.
What can he possibly do?
Oh, no, he can't do anything to me. I don't.
Yeah.
I bring him up every once in a while, but it's only usually when it's related to the topic. I don't go on rants about the guy. I could care less about the guy. But I don't know.
I just hear his name in all these stories.
If anything, he should be over here giving me a free interview for all the money I've donated to him. He owes me a little something, I would say. More than anything. That's why I always think it's weird, is he's going after people's channels that have donated to him. Like, they haven't done anything but support the guy. It's weird.
That's weird. Why would you bite the hand that feeds you?
He's got trust issues, and he thinks everybody's the enemy.
That's paranoia.
I should be thrilled because Bolin has no clue who most of us are. Yeah, he's a former professional wrestling talking guy. Like, I guess you'd call him a manager. He wouldn't be a wrestler by any means. said, Jacob, you're on the list because you owe him money. And you was on a clip he was sent. I was on a clip. What clip was I on? But no, yeah, he claims that I owe him $1,000. And it's a funny story. I basically offered, I said I'd pay for a
I
show
remember,
for him
yeah.
to come on here and do an interview. And I still hold up that bargain. But then all of a sudden he started like raising the money. He only wanted to do it on his channel. And basically the bargain never went through. And now he's convinced that I owe him $1,000. And then he blocked me the night that I think I donated. I think I donated him over $200 one night, and he blocked me that same night.
Oh, Lord.
That's fucking wild. Yeah, block the only guy that's donating to you. There you go. Because nobody else in his chat was donating. Because I remember him saying, "Yeah, for some reason, that shitbag Jacob Waters is the only one donating. I don't know what the rest of y'all are doing." I was laughing my ass off.
Your backhanded comment for the money you just gave him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Some people
Trying to
have
get the crowd fired up.
no class or appreciation.
He's trying to get the crowd fired up. Maybe he could spark some more donations.
Yeah. I don't know why people find that so interesting. I just want to go laugh with friends, you know? Maybe talk about something serious with somebody else, or, go visit people that I've known for a while. It's all on YouTube or Rumble, and I just don't get it. Why do you want to go out there and make people mad at you?
Oh, I know why. That's why he's mad at me right now. That's why he's going after me right now, because I showed Pesci how to fight Boland's copyright strike. Basically, what happened was Boland tried to strike his content, and it was for an appearance that Pesci was on the show for the stuff that was actually struck. Pesci took down more stuff, and so this is what everybody doesn't know. Pesci took down more stuff than what was stricken. The only stuff I know that was stricken was 2 videos, and they were really old. They weren't even part of the Bowling Alley stuff that he's been doing recently, where he does commentary on the actual show. And the shows that he had on his channel actually had Pesci on them. And I said, okay, maybe the only thing you could be copywritten for is for whenever you weren't on the screen, or if he paid you to be on there, which he didn't get paid to be on there. And so he was just on a show. He's more than welcome to share it.
Yeah.
And then what Boland has to do is he's got 30 days if Pesci doesn't yield, because what most people do is they don't understand it. They get a copyright strike and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to cut that video off, or I'll take it down, or something like that. But if you actually fight it, the other person that originally made the claim has 30 days to present their suit. Yeah. And usually to go farther, it takes a little bit of money. So you'll actually have to invest into it. And then if you get caught in racket. Yeah, and if you get caught in 3 false copyright strikes, then they take away your channel. So if Boland has done it in the past, which I don't know if he has, and people haven't fought him on it, that's why I'm going to start telling anybody he does this to, just come talk to me. I'll show you exactly how to do it. It takes 30 days, and you can shut that old man down.
I will keep that in mind.
Because he's making false copyright. Like give you an example of somebody way bigger than Kenny Boland. I got a copyright strike from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Will Smith the other day, and I don't remember what record. No kidding.
Are you sure it was really him?
Well, no, it probably wasn't them. It was probably the record company that owns them, or whatever label they're signed to. Be such. Well, it's whoever is in charge of their copyright stuff. They usually have somebody that manages that, and they didn't respond after 30 days, so I get to keep the song up.
Oh, good.
They can't claim it now.
That's hardly a lawyer doing that, because he would know to respond.
Yeah, that's why most of it's so automated and it's so weird. I know he got mad about Raw Boland, but he couldn't do anything about it because of what happened with Ethan and what is it? I want to say 4H, the H4 podcast. There was a lawsuit, and basically there's just cause for, as long as you're doing commentary, it's fair use.
Yeah.
And Ethan was really the case sample for that. And everybody looks back to that case in order to prove their point. As long as you're not playing somebody's content without commenting on it, without stopping it, or
Yeah,
without
you have, what is it,
saying
like
anything.
8 seconds or something?
It's different on each platform.
Yeah.
For what you're like, how often you have to interrupt, but it's how much you add to it, basically.
Mhm.
Oh, that's how I got my first strike.
There you
What
go.
for?
There was a certain person, let's just say through association with other people I stream with, whatever. Um, she was part of our community, but she basically found out she was a soft sit, and we called her out on her actions of what she did during an incident with the police, and she did a stream basically trashing us, talking crap, and I restreamed it on my channel with some of the people from the community, and like we're commentating over it the whole time, calling her out on all her lies, all her BS, da 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 da. So she filed for a strike. I fought it and lost, and I was shocked. I'm like, against this homeless, toothless piece of crap, really? I've taken down Disney, NBC, Netflix, all this, da da da, and it's this one homeless piece of crap who's talking trash about us. Really? I don't know. I don't know what the decision was that was made there, and we
That's
came
wild.
with receipts and everything.
Did you end up getting to talk to a real person from YouTube, or was it just generic emails?
Those generic emails, because after the review, I filed another counter strike against her. Um, and yeah, the YouTube just like they didn't care. It was like they just didn't
So
care. It was just, good. We found that, yeah, you did wrong. Whatever. Da da da. I was like, where? It's no
so
different than any response videos I've made.
this is the new almighty thing I tell people to do, because it makes a huge difference. And some people try to do it, some people don't. Pesci did it, which I'm glad he did. If you message, you can message YouTube on Twitter, and you'll get a real person to respond, and they will relook at your case, have an individual look at your actual case, and you can explain to them, hey, this is what's going on, this is where I'm at in the appeals process, this is where, and they can pull it up, and then they'll start messaging you privately, and you can actually get it taken care of. That's how I got my whole old channel back. They restored, I don't know, over 600 hours worth of content that was just deleted. And so I don't know, the more I got into the fact of, if you message the right people and don't say anything wrong in the beginning, because that's what the YouTube's process is. You can't be too in a hurry to get your channel back, because it's almost like a court case. Anybody can make an accusation against somebody, but it's harder for them to prove it, and you just can't make yourself look guilty in the first appeals process, because usually people jump into saying, oh no, I just didn't have any copyright content, and then it immediately gets rejected because there's not enough info in it and they have nothing to go off of.
Yeah,
But
see, that's kind of the crazy thing, because I went at them with, well, like I said, receipts.
Yeah.
This woman, we held like GoFundMe's, fundraisers, Cash App, little fundraisers for her, and like the community was sending her money based off of her initial story, and then she has the nerve to finally show like the final incident with the cops wherever in this town, and that's when I discovered, oh, you're a soft sit. Because she was completely unruly. She was told to leave, didn't want to, and just kept screaming all that BS. And it's like, oh, well, they rightfully and lawfully removed you. Kept talking about things that never happened. So she conned an entire community. I sent her money. And that's what I was really mad about, too.
was she saying anything bad? Like, besides just like trashing somebody? Like, because I don't think you can get in trouble for trashing
I was
somebody.
just, no, that typical stuff. It was like, oh, no, they don't know the whole truth. They over there with their BS and this and that, just talking mad shit. Like, everything we said was wrong. So it was kind of a
Yeah,
defamation
that
thing
sounds
of
that sounds
what
like a lot.
we
Well,
Was
were
she
saying about it.
drinking?
defamation doesn't work on YouTube. I think that's actually very similar to
Who
what's going
knows?
on with Kenny. Uh, Kenny, the Kenny Bolin guy that we're talking about, that's basically what he does. He just kind of talks shit on the internet, but I think he's playing a character.
But
Like, and that's what he does with politics, and he does it with everything. He just makes up lies about shit and then pretends it's the truth.
see, like that's pretty much really the thing I had a problem with. Her
Oh yeah, it
her
would make me
little stream
mad,
she
but
did was absolute fair use.
yeah,
To commentate and
that's what sucks
respond
about it.
about it.
As long as she's commenting on it and not just playing stuff through, yeah, it's technically fair use. People can ramble. I mean, that's why people that's why like crazy there's some crazy conspiracy theorists out there that will say some wild shit on the internet that probably shouldn't be on the
No,
internet or should probably be on medication. But at the same time,
no, not
they're able
not
to do
fair
it as long as they
use.
don't cross certain lines.
Not fair use on her part. Fair use on my part.
It was fair
Because
use on hers too, it sounds like.
she was free game. No, she didn't
Oh
play
yeah.
anything of ours.
Well, I'm just saying if she was just so she was just talking shit about you guys without playing anything.
Defaming our characters.
Yeah, you can't get a defamation I mean, you can't get a defamation lawsuit with
I
somebody
wasn't
you don't
going
have
for
a
that.
relationship on the internet. No, I'm just saying. So YouTube wouldn't fight that. I don't think. I can't think of a case where somebody was making fun of me. So because there's a whole internet culture of like lolcows where literally people make fun of other people for a living. You know what I mean? And make money off of it. So I couldn't imagine
And
YouTube
see,
would.
that's another thing. I'm not monetized. I don't
True.
make a dime off of this.
No, it's just for fun.
Well,
Nobody makes. I mean,
not
once you get
not
to a
through
certain
YouTube
echelon,
anyway.
but yeah, once you get to a certain echelon, maybe you're making money. Like I've gotten donations here and there, but it's not. It's not even paying for my StreamYard.
Yeah.
I buy a StreamYard because it's fun. I enjoy streaming, so I pay a decent amount for StreamYard. But that's about it. Oh, let me catch up this. Not sure because Bolin struck the newest Raw Bolin, and that's why Pesci is waiting for a reply or decision. So he just has to wait until the end of the days. If Bolin was going to fight it, he would have done it already. He's got 30 days to respond, and then it gets overturned. The one that I had that came up right before Pesci's did just got overturned. That was the Will Smith one that I was talking about for the Fresh Prince song, and I ended up getting it cleared. But I assume Pesci's first two strikes that were on older stuff are about to get cleared. And if that second one holds out until then, Pesci can actually do a reclaim against Bolin, and he can get Bolin's whole channel removed for 3 copyright strikes that were all put against Pesci and that all got overturned.
Does
So if
Bolin
all 3 of
understand how
those,
this works?
nope, he doesn't, and it's not my job to explain it to him.
No, I wouldn't explain it to him. Let him trip
Nope.
over his own
If he
laces.
wants to play these, if he wants to go around and play these games, if he wants to be an online bully and run, he's just excited because now when he's collecting money from people, he's actually running a nonprofit. It sounds like, but for the longest time, he hasn't been running a nonprofit. He's just been illegally collecting money from people on the internet and sending it to the Philippines. And who knows how much of it he's actually sending.
Most of the people on the internet begging for money aren't doing it for the reason they say.
Right. He's just out here trying to save the world, sending tarps and rice to ladies in the Philippines. And they, oh my gosh, Mud Rabbit.
What he's doing to everybody, they're doing to him.
Mud Rabbit, if I showed you these videos that he plays of these girls under like 12 years old with one of his shirts on, calling him daddy, you would be
Are these
outraged.
Really his kids, or is he?
No. These are just random Filipino kids that like to call him daddy that he doesn't have a problem with.
You know that's why he's over there.
No, he doesn't make it over there. He's in the States.
Oh, okay, good.
And he sends money over there. I'm hoping he's not allowed on planes or something. I assume.
Yeah, people like that are on my shit list.
Should be
Let's
on
see.
FBI watch list.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Just like when Jacob said he would pay if he did Jacob's show, and from there the amount went up. Yeah, he
Yeah.
just makes shit up. Sometimes it just happens. I'm used to it. That's why I say I don't take most of the shit he says here. He can come at me if he wants
Yeah.
to.
You can't
I'm not.
take anything somebody
There's
like
not.
him says.
I don't.
Seriously.
And you have to really be on my channel for the simple fact that very few and I started doing this. I don't know how many months ago. Very few of my lives even stay live. So most of the people that are trying to strike any of my new shit for anything, it's almost a waste of their time because most of it gets turned into clips anyway. You guys don't see it again unless I want you to.
Right.
It's
That's
just nice to be
nuts.
able to, yeah, because I stopped worrying about being monetized. It
Yeah,
just makes
that's
it
the whole
easier.
thing. That when you took money
If
out
I'm
of
not
the
after
equation,
money, oh
yeah,
yeah, if I'm not after money, then it pisses people off that are after money.
yeah.
They were like, oh shit, well, he's just fucking up the flow of things. He's not trying to get a button, and he's not trying to. I'm like, no, I have a normal job. I'm not doing this to
This
survive.
is your hobby.
Yeah,
It's
hobbies used to
like,
be a thing. Get a
well,
pet
back in the
rock.
day, we had CB radios,
Yeah.
Citizens Band, and they would have these carports with these big, massive setups in there, and they would talk to people all over the country and all over the world and talk to the truckers. And, it was just shortwave radios and things like that. It was crazy. So there's always been a form of communication.
And we hate you people.
To us?
No, not. I'm not going to say you and your people that did it, but there is a breed out here nowadays. I get guys that are like doing podcasts on Channel 19. It's like, really, really, dude. At least go to another channel. 19 is for us relaying information. A lot of people just don't care. They're a-holes.
Yeah.
It really gets annoying, especially when a jam in Chicago that all of a sudden stopped. And there's no warnings or anything about construction or an accident. And it's just some guy. And when Trump goes to the border, he drops $1 million. It's like, what are you talking about right now? Clear this channel. And you hear a lot of guys. I'm like, clear this channel.
Yeah, I could only imagine
What
the cross chat on a CB. There's
That
no
would
way
be a
it's good.
trip. That would be a trip. We
What's
had
your
a
call?
neighbor
What's
that
your
I
call
just
had.
got
sign,
this
Sick?
new.
Sick. What's your call sign?
I'm fish hook.
Fish hook. All
Oh, it
right.
was called
Because
ham
of
radio.
hold on.
Ham radio.
Let me turn. Oh yeah, ham radio is another
Yeah, that's what
beast.
they called it.
Because of the piercing in my lip. That's
Oh,
basically a hook that goes in from the top. Um, it
You've
comes
got
out
a
through the bottom
lisp.
of my lip.
as long as you're not rusty nail, you're
Oh,
good.
lift. Oh no, no.
Rusty nail, candy cane.
But no, before I got into driving, I was working at this mechanic shop forever. An AT&T guy came in to look at our internet and adjust it, do some stuff, and he saw my piercing, and he was just like, "Oh, did you get in a fishing accident?" I was like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking about?" And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, you got a fish hook stuck in your lip. I'm gonna
Yeah,
call you
no.
fish hook." And I'm just like, "You what? Huh?" And
That's a good name. I
when I
like it.
got to when I finally got the truck driving, shortly after that, there was this taxi driver I met. Like we had shuttle service, but it was past time, so I had to call a taxi to go back to the hotel. And there was this sweet, middle-aged white lady, heavier set, and me and her got to talking on the ride, and she was like, "So you got your handle yet?" And she saw I was a newbie, I was a greenhorn. She was like, "You got your handle yet?" And I was just like, "Well, weirdest thing I've been called I thought be kind of cool was fish hook." And I told her the story, and she was just like, "You know what? That's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it's a
You do
good
look like you
handle.
got a fishing hook stuck in your lip." You tell them Mama Bear has designated you fish hook, and I'm just like, well, there's got to be more Mama Bears. Like, you make sure it's Mama Bear from Springfield who drives the yellow cab. Sure
Right.
enough,
There's
I'm
got to
out
be a
in
lot of
Arizona
mama.
one
There's
day.
got to be a lot of mama bears and Big Bear.
Oh,
And...
you know it.
I'm
Yeah,
out
they
in
have
Oh yeah.
Arizona one. I'm in Arizona one day, and some of these truck stops they'll have professional driver section only. So you go right up and sit there. And the guys were messing with me. They're like, "You look too young to drive a truck," messing with me and all that stuff. And they're like, "What's your handle?" And I'm like, "Fish hook." I was like, "Well, okay, that makes sense." Looking at your Pearson, and I told them about her. And one guy was just like, "Oh yeah, up there in Springfield by the damn Prime Terminal."
It's a
Yeah, I know you talking about. Da,
colony.
da, da,
It's a
da.
Mama
colony.
bear, don't
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's on the road, bumping into everybody.
Okay,
But yeah,
so
she used to
I didn't
drive.
I didn't tell the I didn't tell this story yet, but Gonzo brought it up. So this is the other thing that he does, and this is harassment. And I don't know how anybody hasn't got him on this yet. So what he does is if he has disagreements with people on the internet, what he likes to do is he likes to call those people's jobs and tells lies
Oh
about them to
no.
their boss. And this is hilarious because it didn't work for Pesci. It won't work for somebody like me. It won't work for somebody like Boss Man. Like all these people that don't have bosses, or like you're gonna
Yeah,
end up calling me. Like,
self-employed people.
right. Like I know this is a scary thought for somebody like Bolin who's worked for another man his whole life. Like there's always
No.
somebody to answer to. But yeah, not everybody has a boss. But yeah, it's so weird. That's stalking or harassment
Yeah.
at the least. Like you don't just call people's work and bitch at them because you had a tough time on the internet. Like,
I
oh
can
god.
imagine him calling my boss.
I
He
actually
wouldn't get
was
far.
I actually, at one point, when I was talking to the people in the Little family more, I was actually trying to set something up where they were going to go and be in Boland's chat, but I ended up having a falling out with the Little family, or with Little Me and all of. I don't think all of them, but I think Little Me was like, "Yeah, don't fuck with that Jacob Waters guy anymore." But I'm
What
still
was
kind of
his
cool with him.
problem?
He was mad because sometimes I would like he I don't know if he wanted me to be like mean to Rocco or what he wanted. Like I didn't totally understand
That's
it,
what it felt
but
like to me because I saw
like
him.
people
I s-
wanted me to be meaner to other people, and
Yeah.
it's just like I'm not gonna be mean to the guy. Like that's what he wants me to do too. I felt like that's what Rocco wanted me. That's why he said crazy shit to me. Like
Mhm.
that's why he said he was gonna call CPS on me and like shit like that. And I'm like, call CPS on me. I don't really care if they show up at my house. I'm not doing anything bad. Like, I would rather have CPS show up at my house and realize that I'm not doing anything bad than sit here and worry about
And
them
that you have
showing up
no
at my
little
house.
ones.
Right. Like, well, and I don't have anything illegal in my house. Everything that I do is legal. Like
I know.
I don't know. I don't have anything to. I have locks on my door. I know the laws. Like, it's a great thing to know the laws.
And it's great not to have a boss.
Right. Yeah. I don't have like just the rumor mill can get you fired.
Yeah.
Like,
These days anymore.
yeah. It doesn't even matter if you actually did something wrong. It's so silly.
I don't know.
And
People are
that's
so petty anymore.
oh yeah. Well,
How do you
fucking
enjoy life if you're being so damned petty?
because Kenny loves cancel culture, and he's just got to ride that wave until it fucking crashes.
I think he's about ready to be beached.
He's all whale and no beach.
Yeah, right?
What up,
Yeah.
Andre Little? Good to see you, sir.
Andre, hey.
Macintosh 2028. Yeah, Macintosh told me he was running. Did you hear the rock song, Andre? I played it for Mud Rabbit the other day. Michael Macintosh for fucking president. It was kind of a wild song.
Yeah.
He told me that it wasn't AI generated, but it sounds exactly like all of the songs that Jake Hudson sends me. So I have a feeling it was AI generated.
Or somebody who's just very good at rap on a synthesizer.
That's possible too.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know
I
what
wouldn't
the
even know
world's
where to
coming to.
begin to explain that one.
Which one?
Oh, people that just take pleasure in being miserable.
Mean.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they get lifted up by putting others down. There's a lot of
Yeah,
people that live like that.
they're
And
energy vampires.
yeah, that's why I call them social vampires.
Mhm.
They feed off of other people's energy. And the
Yep.
longer you keep them around, the longer they feed off of you. So the little attention you give them, that fucking starves them. And then
Yeah,
they
but you
start
know
like
what's
throwing
fun?
themselves in traffic and shit.
You know what's really fun though?
What?
You just turn the tables on them. They can't handle it.
No, they definitely can't. That's what I'm saying. I most of the time I starve them for attention because that's what they look for.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's when they're like throwing themselves into traffic to get your attention. They're like, "Ugh, look at me," or like making some like wild gesture,
yeah.
talking shit, like sending Schmidt to my chat to let me know that somebody's after me. Like that's the kind of shit. It's like, dude, I'm glad to hear that a guy that used to work for the WWF is interested in what I'm doing. That's
Yeah, they're
awesome.
coming for you, Jacob.
The WWE is after me.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that's too much of a compliment for him. He doesn't work for the WWE. He doesn't have anything to do with that organization.
No, because if he did, he wouldn't be wasting his time getting your channel pulled.
I want to suck your blood, blah blah.
Yeah.
Yes, Tiffany. Andre, he basically just told me he was running. He thinks it'll be 2028. He held out for a while before he told me.
No, he won't. He'll change his mind by then.
I told him, I said, you got a long way to go uphill to beat
Yeah.
JD Vance and what's his name from Florida or Vivek
Orange man.
Ramaswamy. Those are the three
Yeah.
people.
DeSantis?
Those are the three people. DeSantis. I'm going to put DeSantis up there. I'm going to put JD Vance, and I'm going to put Vivek Ramaswamy for leading the Republican Party.
Yeah, we are loving DeSantis, let me tell you. It went
Yeah.
before the legislature,
I
and
would
we're
also
just.
take Dinesh D'Souza for 5,000.
I like him, yeah. But it went before the legislature, and I think it'll pass that there's no more property taxes here.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I heard
I'm
about
still,
that.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting
Florida.
to see because DeSantis kind of backed out of that whole fucking Andrew Tate thing that he got himself in trouble with.
Yeah, he did, real
Shit.
quick.
He's like, oh shit, they're not behind me on this one.
No, they're not. A lot of people have come around, including myself.
Oh yeah, no, it just had me laugh. Well, because when he just came to the States recently, like I thought like all the hype was dead around that. Like everybody wasn't really talking about Andrew Tate the same way. And it's like DeSantis didn't realize that he kind of made him relevant again. He like
Yes.
brought him back into the spotlight for some
Oh,
reason.
the Streisand effect.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe that's why he did it. You never know with these people. This game that's being played, you come to realize that not, as a matter of fact, mostly everything you see is not what it seems.
Oh no. Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an illusion though. Like it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a distraction. Look over here while this is happening. Oh, this is what I wanted to ask you about. Do you want me to play the video and you want to comment on it?
Sure.
It's about RFK.
I think I've seen it.
Which one? Which one do you think I'm going to play?
Is that the one about the jabs?
The jobs or the jabs?
Jabs.
No, not about the jabs.
Oh.
Jibs. 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 Jab jobs?
Jib jabs.
Jawas. I don't know.
Pull it up. Not about the Jabberwockies.
Okay.
But no, he's
I'm going to put you on mute for a minute. I got to grab a bite.
all right. I got it. Let me know when you're back.
I swear I helped this guy out today that
Oh, I'm here. I'm just muted.
I don't know. He might be legal, but going into a Walmart. They going to Walmart DC today, and like there's a long line. I'm like, why is this line so held up? Come to find out, he was Hispanic and he locked his key in his truck. And I'm like, what? Oh man, dude, you don't got a spare key hidden on the outside? And he's like, yeah, it used to be there, and now I put inside. And I'm like, okay, but all the trucks that were in front of me, I stopped and helped him. Probably because I was doing a drop and hook. I just dropped the trailer and pick up another one. But I stopped and helped him, and he was so appreciative. And I'm like, let me show you that there's some of us that ain't mad at all, yo. You don't look like a MS-13 guy and none of that. Shit, I'm gonna help you out. And everybody, the Walmart employees were appreciative.
Not everybody that's a trucker is always in a hurry. Every once in a while, you get that little bit of free time. But I could see why most of them are busy.
I had a little room. Was stuck.
I have a question for Sick. Have you been stopped for an English test yet?
For what now?
They're in some states now where they're having trouble with drivers from out of the country because there's a lot of bad accidents. They don't read or write English, so they're stopping truckers at checkpoints, when you go into the way stations, and asking them to read a sentence on a card to them to make sure that you can read and speak English.
No, I haven't because I don't fit the profile for that.
Well, that's happening
obviously.
Out in the Midwest. No, you fit any profile. It's not just people from Mexico.
That's happened to Sick. That's happened to me.
There is a
that's happened to me in the Chicagoland area, and I am, I don't know, from the mountains of Caucasia, and it still happened to me. So I definitely don't fit the profile, but anybody in the Chicagoland area sometimes runs into it because Chicago is a sanctuary city. So you could be a foreigner from any place. You don't have to be Hispanic to be not speaking English. You know what I mean?
You would be part of a falsehood of making the numbers look even. That's what that would be. I've heard of this.
Well, no,
I've talked to guys about it.
What I'm saying is I could be a white guy from any country. There's a lot of countries with white people in them that don't speak English, and I could have come here.
Are you driving a rig?
Mm-hmm.
I drive anything that's bigger than air brakes. Air brakes enough for me. I have a class C.
Yeah, these guys are driving rigs.
I don't have a CDL though.
So you don't drive air brakes?
I can do. No, I do air brakes. I don't do anything like long. I can do like buses. I can do garbage trucks. I can do. There's like certain lengths I can do, but I can't technically drive a semi. I haven't been semi certified, but I can do
class A and B. Class A and class B are air brakes.
Well, A is hazardous material. And
if
B
you
is
actually
that's a length over two. B is the length over two semis.
No, actually, hazmat is class X. But you're in a big enough vehicle. That's probably what was being looked at.
Yeah.
But no, I've never had that problem. I know of it.
But yeah, they also have me do that little. I think it's just standard now because it's just something that's become so common.
There's a lot of people reporting it on X and TikTok.
My boss had
I got no problem with it whatsoever.
My boss had several illegal people working for him, and he was over.
Yeah, I got no problem.
Because the first time I got pulled over when I was driving a semi, and it was a log loader, and it was overweight, and I was 17. Just got my license. I definitely didn't have a CDL, and I was driving on an interstate.
You should have went to jail.
Oh yeah, I definitely should have went to jail. But our boss had this little thing that he did. If you got pulled over by a state trooper, what he would do is he would say to have them call the state trooper. Luckily enough, the state trooper would call them, and he'd say, "Hey, I overloaded this guy's truck. This guy's not even supposed to be driving this truck. I just had to get this truck back." And he would get people out of tickets, and then he would get in trouble for it. But that's just how we always did it. And because I could look at the back of the truck and know that I was overweight, because you're putting like full trees, like it's basically a claw machine that's attached to the back of the truck and on the back of the semi, and you just load in full size trees, and they're just logged up a little bit where they don't have branches. But yeah, the weights are insane, especially if you're dealing with hardwood. And yeah, I was so overweight. I was probably 20 to 25,000 pounds overweight, like insane amount overweight.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they're loading it like that claw isn't there.
yeah, because they pulled me because I had to pull onto those pads or whatever, because I wasn't at a scale. They just had me pull onto those pads. I remember doing it. God, it was so scary because I was 17. I had like just gotten my license not too long ago, and I
You were
knew I
just
shouldn't
newly
be
a
driving.
criminal at that point.
Right, exactly. I was fresh into it. But here, let me play this video for
Yeah,
you
the
real quick.
video.
So to be clear, you're not concerned about anything that could come out about you and Jeffrey Epstein.
My plane rides with Jeffrey Epstein, I took 2 plane rides with him. Once in 1993, when I went down to visit my mother in Palm Beach. Remember, nobody knew about anything about Jeffrey Epstein's nefarious activities till 2006. So he was a public figure and a big philanthropist. My wife knew his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and they offered us a ride when we were going down to see my mother. I was with 2 children and my wife out on the plane at that time. I knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein. And then I think 1 or 2 years later, we took my kids fossil hunting on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. And those are, that was the extent of anything that I had to do with Jeffrey Epstein's airplane.
I believe it. I mean, when we lived in the Virgin Islands, we were propositioned to go work on Little St. John, and we had no clue what they were doing over there.
I think there's a big difference between I flew on his plane once, like when Trump says he knows who Epstein was, but he never really got along with him, I kind of believe him more. But when someone says my wife is friends with Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever her name is, that's a little sus.
And she put up a bit of resistance about his political affiliations. So there's something there.
Class C is 26,000 and under. Yeah, that's what it is for the license. I didn't even have a Class C when I got pulled over. When I got pulled over, I had a regular Class D license that I got from school. Like it wasn't. I didn't have anything at the time. I eventually
you weren't official.
Yeah, I didn't get my Class C license until at least 23, something like that, 23, 24 years old. But definitely not when I was 17. I don't think you can even get them until you're 18.
I have no clue.
I don't know what the rules are in Illinois anymore, but yeah, I still have my my CDL pamphlet in case I ever want to get it. But it used to be so hard to take the test. You had to describe the drive shaft from the steering wheel down, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know shit about fucking mechanics, and no, I'm not studying all that. It took me forever. One time, because my first boss, well, one of my first bosses that I worked for with the tree service that fucked me over several times in the past. I learned a lot from him because I got in a lot of weird situations. One time the air brakes went out on one of the trucks that we were at. And I had to figure out how to get them to work again. I didn't realize
oh Lord,
I didn't know how the pump went out. I didn't know how any of that worked. He's got me looking through a fucking manual trying to figure out. Oh my God, I'm 17 years old. Yeah, I'm 17 years old trying to figure out how a fucking air brakes work on a semi.
He should have just crawled right into the cab and taken a nap until he sent somebody.
Oh man, he's left people on the side of the interstate before for not figuring shit out or being like he's left. Oh god, he's left so many people. He had. Oh man, I probably shouldn't even tell some of these stories. There was this one guy named Eli he used to work he used to be part of the mob in Mexico, and then he came up here, got somebody else's social security number, and was working for us for a while. And he was blind in one eye because he got jumped by the mafia. He got jumped by some guys in the mafia at one point, and he lost all the vision in his left eye. And for a while, he was just a power line worker in Mexico. And I was just thinking, oh my God, that's fucking wild. Like a power line worker in Mexico,
goodness,
like no OSHA, no nothing. And then he eventually
no
moved
safety
up
nets.
Oh yeah, no, there's no nets of any sort. And there's no safety. But he started working up here with us. And I think at the time, minimum wage was like somewhere around $8 an hour or something like that. And I had just started working for this guy. I was like 16, 17, and he would hand me all of the checks to fucking give out to all the guys. And he had them in envelopes, and I wasn't looking at them. And then Eli handed me back his check, and he said, "Hey, can you read this to me?" And I was like, "Sure." Like I read it to him and what it said. And I looked at it like, what the fuck? Like, wait a minute. Like this isn't calculating in my head. And I said something to the boss, and he's like, well, he's only got half his eyes. I pay him half of minimum wage.
Oh,
And
that's
I said,
terrible.
holy shit. Like, where the fuck are we at right now? Oh, yeah. No, I stopped working for that guy a year later.
Oh, Lord.
It was so wild. And he had guys, and like some of his guys were better than me. And I knew they were better than me. And he would just have white guys as like the leads, and all of the guys that climbed the trees and shit like that.
Yeah.
Half of them were illegal. They were all living in the same house. There's one guy I really got to know pretty well that was working with us. And then he went back to Mexico to visit some of his family, and he got murdered because they thought he was somebody else when he went out there, and he got murdered. And now, when I was working there, all of the guys that worked there, 25% of each of their paychecks all got sent to his family. They started doing that the day after he passed away. And I was like, holy shit. Like everybody over here is just good people. Like,
they took care of his family.
Yeah.
That's sweet. But it's sad it had to go that way,
Well, it's sad that you got taken advantage of. And that's why I was saying like immigration should be taken care of the right way, because otherwise these companies are going to take advantage of people. Like if people can work under the table, that's when people are getting paid less than a livable wage. And that's what drives down, like, of course, because a lot of people like to say, oh, well, Hispanic or Mexican people take the jobs that white people don't want to do. No, they will also do it at a lower rate than is a livable wage, which is
because it's more than what they get at home.
Yeah, and that's why you don't get white people to do it, is because you're paying people under the table for less than a livable wage with no insurance, no anything else.
Years ago, white people did do it, but then when they brought in these migrant workers, like down in Homestead, they come in to pick the fields, and you just got to wonder, what kind of lives they live. They come up with their entire families and their little kids, and they're provided housing on the property, and that's all they do.
Well, it's different for every area, and people don't realize, because everybody goes, oh no, it's just Spanish-speaking people. No, it's Spanish-speaking people in California, maybe Chicago, and maybe New York. But in Florida, it's Haitians.
Florida is Spanish and Haitian.
More than anything. I was say Haitians more than anybody. When I was in the landscaping service, that's what I saw when I was in Florida.
Right, it is now. But back in the 70s and the 80s, it was the Hispanic population.
Yeah. And then when it comes to skilled labor in trades, I've started to say that like over the time, I think the biggest dominating immigrant population in the Chicagoland area is Polish. There's more Polish workers in the trades than probably anybody.
The island people, Haitian, Jamaican, whatever, whoever comes up from islands, they dominate in the service industry, and mostly in the art chain, that was mostly the people in the kitchen. But these people, they're not like people here. They come over here, they work that job at night, they work a job during the day, or maybe they go to school and they're putting their kids through college. It's not, they're not lazy. Holy
Oh, no.
moly, we couldn't get our kitchens going without them.
Yeah, no,
They have
not
a good
lazy at all.
incentive.
No, the most of the guys that I worked with that were illegal. Well, one of the guys I know who I worked with at the one of the landscaping companies I worked with, which was my last boss I worked for, and his name was John, and I worked for him for a while, probably for about 10 years, and he's the one who showed me how to do patios, and he had this Mexican guy working for him, and the guy worked 2 jobs. He worked with me landscaping, and then he also did a bar gig at night. And so he'd get done landscaping and then go work at the bar.
Yeah,
and then wake up
they
the
have
next
great
day.
work ethic.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And
our guys, though, I will give caveat, our guys, we had to fill I-9s out. So our guys were all legally here. It's just that they worked harder than the people born here.
Well, and that was what was so different about this guy is he was illegal, but he paid taxes. He basically was reporting, hey, I'm illegal, and here's my tax money. He wasn't using somebody else's social security or anything like that. He never got anything back in taxes.
Yeah, I knew a girl from Peru that did that.
Well, I just remember telling him, I said, the day you stop paying taxes, now that you showed them who you are, that's the day you're going to be deported. Like, I wasn't trying to be mean. I was like, but the day you stop sending them money, like, that's when you're at risk to.
That's what's keeping you here, dude.
Because he's not getting any benefits from paying taxes. He doesn't get, he can't get health insurance. He can't get, and his wife is a teacher. And she's got health insurance and stuff, and his kids got health insurance, but I don't think he does.
Did you see that woman that got deported? I think it was to Dominican Republic. She'd been here for 30 some odd years, had children here, had a husband here, and, living here as though she was a citizen, and they found her and shipped her back to her home country. I thought that's got to be rough. I mean, I'm all for legal immigration, mainly because half of my family had to go through legal immigration, and that was tough on them.
Well, we were talking about that earlier tonight. It's just, it's so hard for the people that are going through the process and then watching so many people jump them in line. Like,
you know what? It's even harder if you claim political asylum.
Yeah.
It takes longer.
That's what, did you hear what Noah said earlier?
What?
That's what a lot of people are actually having trouble with, is because a lot of these people that came into the UK were
claiming political asylum, but what they were doing is they were going back to their homeland,
their countries, right?
Yeah, on holiday, and it's just like, oh. So and not only that, they're not supposed to travel clear across the continent to claim political asylum on the other end. They're supposed to do it in a neighboring country.
You don't go back to the place that you call dangerous.
Right. And you go to a neighboring country. That's political asylum.
Because when she says holiday, she means vacation. Like, I knew what Noah meant.
Yeah.
Noah meant vacation.
Oh, yeah, that's how they say
You mean
it.
you're going back? Yeah, you're not good. It's not because it's Easter. You're going back there because you want some time off, and you're going back to the place that you were escaping from. What?
Like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I explained to her kind of what was going on the southern border and how we made asylum easier for asylum seekers.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually just like checking a box, and they weren't actually looking into it anymore.
They don't even go after them for missing their court dates. And what my guy had to go through just to become a citizen, you know, they don't have to do all of that. And back in the day, you couldn't even travel to another country without having a series of certain injections, shots.
Oh, wow.
And now you don't do that anymore. That happened somewhere in the 70s. They stopped requiring you to have
most of the time, I thought they had to vaccine you for certain things.
They weren't vaccines. They were inoculations. Like if you were traveling to a country that had a history with cholera or had a history with parasites, like in India, you know, they give you ivermectin. And then,
and same with, they got like botflies and stuff in Africa. There's all kinds of stuff you got to
They don't do that anymore. And that's why we've had disease spread across the damn globe, because people don't get a physical before they travel overseas. And I've seen it myself.
Actually used to be one of the most popular distributed ones for immigrants.
Yeah, I've
That's all
seen it myself. When you get on a plane, back then we were always told, if you're sick, don't fly. Because, and if, especially if your kids have measles or chickenpox or something like that, you weren't allowed to take them on a plane. But
so,
yet I have
so let
seen
me ask you
people
this.
fly with children who had measles and chickenpox.
So let me ask you this, because like I think it fits your time zone, and it kind of went into like my generation, and that's when it kind of died. It died in my generation for sure.
Was that the
When was it?
inoculations?
Well, no, the people going to events sick, really. Like when I was growing up, I wouldn't get sent home from work unless I was on the job puking.
Right.
Like you didn't like if you were sick, you were still going to show up to work.
Yes.
You still
You
had to
went
get
with the
work
flu
done. You still had to
regardless.
make money. You
Hmm.
couldn't take off work because you had a cough, and the boss would fire you if you said, "I have a cough and I
And
can't
you
come
didn't
into
bring a
work." Or
doctor's note.
right, or you didn't have it. Like even a couple doctor's notes would still get you on a fucking watch list. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to be missing that many
Well, if
days.
you do it that
When did
much.
when did it change from you don't go on a plane because you're sick to like um yeah, we got to get this work done. Like that, like, sorry, I don't care. Like,
Well,
'cause
that's
that's what
how
I
it was
think
back in the day. I mean, my job, there was no replacement. They just expected me to show up at the time I was supposed to be there.
exactly.
And I would go
You got
in
to take a plane to
sometimes.
get there. You got to take a plane to get there. Like,
But see, back then, which we don't have now, is there's a difference between the flu shot and the flu vaccine. There was a shot you could get because I had a Cuban doctor down in Hallandale, and I got happened to me twice. I got so sick with the flu because I worked in the service industry. And I was sick on my day off, and I went to him and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to go to work tomorrow. And he gave me a shot in the arm. The next day I woke up, I was fine. I went to work. A couple years later, same thing happened. I went to him, I said, I need that shot because I was in really bad shape, and he gave me a shot in the arm. And next day I was right as rain. They don't do that anymore. And that
well,
was a practice back then.
the other difference is technically those shots, if they are actually inoculations or vaccines, they're
They're not
supposed to.
vaccines. It's ivermectin and I forget what else it was. It was the
So it
ivermectin.
was a booster. It was like a
Yeah.
CPAC or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. You got it as a shot in the arm, and it would work overnight, and next morning your nose would be raw and your eyes would be red, but you'd feel great.
Well, because that's what sucks about a virus like the cold or a flu
Mhm.
is it's constantly evolving. So the vaccine would have to evolve. It would have to change. Like you couldn't use dead
Mhm.
flu vaccine from
Right.
30
Well, they
years
did it
ago
in
because it wouldn't.
albumin.
You couldn't actually build up immunities to something that has been evolved past that.
Right. And not every vaccine you take is for the flu you just had. They're
Exactly.
all
And
different.
that's
All the
because
strains are
the flu
different.
season is because the flu season is only for a period of time. They have to make basically the vaccine's probably based off of the last flu season.
Well, yeah, and you have to keep
It has
getting
to be.
it every year, but the flu shot, you only get it when you're sick.
Well, this is something I've never understood. So why is it that people are under the impression that certain okay, I want to make sure I use the right term. Is it viruses are curable? Because I don't think some things are curable. Like what is herpes classified as?
I think it's a virus.
Why do people think that why do some people think viruses are curable and that they don't evolve? I think you can build up immunities to
Yeah,
viruses,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think you can fight them, but I think they're still in your system. It's like the same idea as if you get chickenpox and then you get scabies when you're older. It's because you had chickenpox when you were younger, right?
Not scabies, it's shingles.
Shingles. Okay.
Yeah.
And ringworm, if you get it, what happens is it stays in your system forever.
No,
And then
ringworm's a
you just
fungus.
don't uh
Ringworm is a fungus
use
because,
is it?
yeah, because back in the day, where I grew up, we would get chiggers and ringworm, and we'd go home, show it to our parent or our grandparents, and they would paint nail polish over it. You smothered it out, especially with chiggers, because they get under your skin. Those are bugs. And if you play in the woods and you play in, in all the trees and everything, you're going to get chiggers. And ringworm, because this is more
Well,
south
I
than
knew.
southern.
Okay, so it is. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
It's not a viral disease. It is because I knew antifungal is actually what helped it. So like anything
Yeah.
that you would spray on like athlete's foot or
Yeah.
something like that would actually cure it.
But we did the nail polish. We
Viruses.
smothered it.
So do we actually cure any viruses, or do we
just get them out of our system? We cure our system.
We don't actually get. There's no virus that we get out of our system that I know of. It stays
our
in your
system. It doesn't stay in. You develop antibodies against it.
But no, it's still in your system.
I don't know. I thought the antibodies killed it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Do you ever? I wonder if you ever actually remove a virus.
I don't know. I've had a few
viruses. The first thing that came up is, do viruses have DNA?
Yeah, that's the current trend that they're studying. They're also finding out that viruses and bacteria are not what we've been told. And they're looking into cancer as a parasite, because there was a doctor who it wasn't prostate, it was bladder cancer in a man, and she had biopsied the tumor. And when she looked at it very closely, it was parasites. It was a ball of parasites.
I don't like that. This is the only thing I've ever searched where AI doesn't have an answer for me.
That's probably by design.
So the first suggested thing that came up is, how long do viruses last in the body? Viral infections can vary a lot in how long they last. For instance, respiratory infections can last a few days to 2 weeks. Yeah. A wart on your skin can last for years or longer. Mm-hmm. Some viruses will stay in your body forever. Are there permanent viruses was another question. Virologists call the abilities of certain viruses to stick around for months or years, even after a person feels better. Persistence in subsets of persistent viruses can go latent when the viruses all but disappear, leaving only their genetic material around. So, which is the whole point of vaccines in the first place. That's why you introduce a dead.
But the vaccines change too. Do you think YouTube's going to allow us to continue that part of the conversation?
I've talked about the redefining of the word virus before.
No, I'm talking about the vaccine.
No, I know. Well, I mean, the redefining of the word vaccine and the fact that
they've redefined vaccine by the very ingredients.
Because we talked about what the COVID-19 vaccine is it's a spiked
spike protein.
It's something to look similar to a spiked protein, mm-hmm. which is supposed to look like the COVID-19 virus.
But it's
not a dead version of that.
It's not even a natural version of that. It's a nano version of that.
Yeah, the classic version of a vaccine is not present in the COVID-19 vaccine, if that makes any sense to people.
And that's why it's not working.
Which is weird, because they did say this publicly. Like, if you ever go back and watch some of the stuff about COVID-19,
I followed it very closely.
And a lot of people were missing it, but they basically explained to you, oh no, we're introducing this spiked protein. They didn't say we're introducing the dead versions of COVID-19.
Right. What they did was they put DNA into people that didn't belong in people. And the whole thing with all of that is they didn't give us the information. They didn't have the trials. So this was all a big gaslight, as far as I'm concerned. Because there are people out there like
questions.
Huh?
You said you're making me look up that other question. So you said
They did have the trials. The trials just weren't in a specific time period to prove its
They're finding
effectiveness.
that some of them didn't even have them.
Well, and some of the people that were involved in the early trials ended up having some very crazy
Health
complications.
issues. Yeah.
That was just from the vaccine, not actually getting COVID. Like some of them lost all muscle function.
Yeah.
They lost some of their nervous system.
You know why it raised red flags in me? Because there is a certain segment of the population, and I'm part of it, that cannot take foreign material into our body without it having a severe reaction. I can't even go to the dentist and have him give me a regular shot before he works. He has to take the epinephrine out. So
that's the craziest thing I've told somebody before.
Why would they make people who can't take these things take them? What was their ulterior motive?
They shouldn't make it mandatory.
They did.
The problem is nothing. You can't give anything to the populace that isn't going to hurt somebody.
Right.
There's not a single thing that you can give to everybody that one person's not going to have a problem
Exactly. And that was my argument. And when people started getting on me for not getting vaxxed, I asked them, are you allergic to anything? You know, because they don't take that into consideration.
You think it's something simple like peanuts. You can't give peanuts to everybody in the world. There would be a lot of problems. People would be dying left and right.
And you know, there were never any peanut allergies at all until they started genetically modifying it. And the same with gluten intolerance with the wheat. None of this ever happened to children and adults until they started doing the genetic modification of the plants and putting the Roundup gene in them.
Yeah.
This is why I grow my own food. I'm not going to eat that.
Well, the reason
it's not a
theory.
It's not a theory at all.
So I'm susceptible to gluten. I think a lot of people are. No, I'm susceptible to gluten in the sense that my body doesn't break it down as well. Like what happens is my nasal passages get clogged up, my eyes start to water. Like I get really weird when I have a lot of bread in my system specifically. And what I realized is when this started becoming into the news, and I live in the Midwest, like the bread basket, and what we saw was it was the wheat production, and what happened was they were trying to get more yields inside of a year, and what they would do is they were rushing the growth of wheat to make it do. It would cure in like 3 months so they could get 2 crops, and they were rushing these things out, and then things were happening where all of a sudden people were coming up with these gluten allergies and all this other shit, and it was weird. Kind of came out of nowhere. Like,
and this was what I was studying at the time. I had every book you could get on it, and now they're finding that this is a fact, and they're starting to try to reverse it. But all those farmers that sued Monsanto, I mean, some of them won, but imagine how many now are going to come out and sue them. They're not going to exist by the time we're done with them.
Okay, so you said when we were talking about vaccines that when some people received the COVID vaccine that they were being introduced with DNA.
Yeah, foreign DNA.
And then when I was originally searching that last thing, the first thing that came up was, do viruses have DNA? So I thought I would search that again to see what came up. And it says, yes, some viruses have DNA as their genetic material.
Now, if the virus is the carrier, you can insert DNA into it.
While others use RNA.
Yeah.
And they are classified based on this characteristic. These, so the RNA viruses, these viruses have a genome made of ribonucleic acid. So that's what RNA stands for.
Yeah.
And so what makes RNA different from DNA? Like what's...
I believe
COVID vaccine was an RNA vaccine. That's why I'm trying to break it down even further.
Yeah,
it wasn't technically a DNA vaccine. That's why I wanted to break down your thought, because you said
there's Dr. McCullough was talking about it. Dr. McCullough was talking about it, that they put some things in this vaccine. It wasn't even for COVID. It didn't do anything to the COVID. people would have survived it, especially children. 99.9% of the time, it would have just been mild for them. And they still insisted that the children take it or they couldn't go to school. And so my grandson, my older grandson, started having sinus infections, throat infections, respiratory infections. He never had those before. And as soon as that happened, he was sick all the time. So for a kid that never got COVID, got the symptoms of COVID after he was forced to be vaccinated. And it lasted and it continues. I mean, that was what, 2020, 2021? And the kid's still, and the younger one is still coughing after 4 years.
So tell me if I'm done, if I'm understanding this wrong. So it has a description of replication on here, and it says viruses cannot replicate on their own, but instead they infect cells and use the host cells machinery to make copies of themselves. So is that what happens with cancer as well?
And this is what fenbendazole blocks. It blocks it with viruses. It blocks it with cancer. It blocks it. The cancer steals all the cells around and co-ops it to what it needs.
Okay, so further on that, so is RNA, so say somebody makes what we now call our vaccines. So somebody's making this thing to look like this other thing. Are they trying to make an RNA vaccine that replicates and turns cells into something else? Is that what RNA would do, just like DNA?
Yeah.
I know I'm breaking this down simple, and I know I sound dumb when I'm saying that. I know what this means. I'm wondering if anybody else is getting where I'm going through with this and why I'm breaking it down so
I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Okay. Oh gosh, that's weird. What up, Cyrax? Good to see you. Sorry,
the whole thing was a big farce, and I've got friends and family members who are still sick from it, who were never sick like this before. It's just ridiculous. But when he was talking about warp speed, I believe he was talking about the monoclonal antibodies.
Oh, Cyrax, you still got to come on and talk to us. You're supposed to come on and talk to me about Mud Rabbit's perfect to have up here to talk about those relationship questions. Well, me and Tony had Simon on one night, and Cyrax is a regular over on Simon's show. And you've met Simon before. Simon's had some interesting views on women and their roles in life. And me and Tony have vastly different views than Simon on women. And Cyrax wanted to come up and talk about some of the topics that we talked about, but she was busy the last time I was live. But yeah, we usually get into some interesting topics with Simon, but he usually always circles back to his ex-wife.
she's renting out a space in his brain.
It was political that we were talking about with Simon? Man, what were we talking about?
The last time I was spoken with Simon, he was talking about religion.
Well, do you remember? Because I actually did watch a clip recently where Simon came on and was talking about something with Donald Trump, and me and you both looked it up. I can't remember what it was. It had something to do with what Donald, or maybe that he called him a felon. He said you guys hired a felon.
Oh yeah, it was about like that. Well, what do you think the other ones have been? Come on.
Well, no. I would love to talk about that with Cyrax if she has a different input on it.
Lord, Bill Clinton ruined us for China.
Well, my thing
George Bush got the spy apparatus going.
And anybody can make allegations against somebody. And Simon didn't understand that they created that law that Donald Trump broke just for Donald Trump. Like nobody ever has committed that crime before.
And they lifted the statute of limitations in that woman's claim in Bergdorf's, that crazy woman. It's late. I can't remember names right now.
She's funny.
She belongs in an asylum. Oh my God.
She talks about rape fantasies and shit all the time.
Yeah, she did it on Anderson Cooper, and he damn near had a heart attack.
She was on Workaholics, and she tried to seduce one of the comedians on
I
Workaholics,
saw that,
and it was like a gimmick. But yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, she always plays that
weird
character. That's just her.
Have you seen her personal interview at her house?
I don't know.
Well, if you think she's weird now, that one will blow your socks off, because her house reflects her personality, and the names and her the names of her cats and pets reflect her personality, and so does her artwork.
Oh my gosh.
Jean Carroll.
This leads to the best interview I have ever heard from Donald Trump. And he was doing a press briefing or something about Eugene Carroll,
yeah,
and her cat, and he goes, "The cat's name was Vagina."
Yes.
I was fucking dying.
But it was.
Cat's name was Vagina.
Yes, it was, and she said as much in that interview when she walked him through her house. My God, her house is weird as she is.
Yeah, that's the best Donald Trump quote of all time. Oh my God.
Or was it a dog or something? Anyway, it was one of her pets.
Because Steven Crowder did like a fucking 20-minute segment on Eugene Carroll and all of that. Ooh, that's a good question. You want to field that one?
Which
what
question?
about Trump? What about Trump that makes you think he is for you? What has he done that benefits you? My question I wanted to ask. Okay.
What has he done that's benefited me personally? Is that the question?
I mean, I guess it's you, so I guess it would have to be. I guess it could be the country as a whole, because it could be us, Cyrex, because I think you live in the United States.
I'm not looking at it as a perspective to myself. I'm looking at it as a better world for my grandchildren. And my son is heavily involved in crypto and Bitcoin. So he's seeing great returns through that. Now, April 20th, something's supposed to happen where the banks shut down and they go to ISO. The banks are investing in the crypto, and they're not good. I don't think they're going to announce it. I think what they're going to do is they're just going to do it overnight, and you're going to wake up the next day and the money is going to be converted. But what he's doing is he's reversing the IRS to be the external IRS. In other words, we're going back to a